Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic, and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, y'all guessed it, another podcast with Recon Trooper.
Hey there, folks. Recon Trooper here, and if you're watching my version, I hope you enjoy the Star Wars and something at the very end if you make it that far. I don't remember what I put in. A lot of it is really just recycled because I didn't record anything as of late.
What did I record? I recorded, I don't know, you'll see it. I think,
Yeah.
Modern Warfare 3, Lego Star Wars maybe? I don't know, we'll see.
Yep. That's got to be the one.
Yeah, it's one of those. Anyway, you guys know the drill by now. If you like this podcast, we're doing Mission Impossible today, so this is the big topic. So if you enjoy this, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new to myself and Recon, of course. And without further ado, let's take it away.
All right, so starting with the first one, what do you remember about the first one, besides the fact that I think in your one review you compared it to Godzilla King of the Monsters, because there was a lot of talking? Or was it Godzilla versus Kong? Because I know you mentioned the part where Godzilla is kind of attacking people for no reason, and that wasn't in King of the Monsters.
Yeah, well, it could have been that. I mean, honestly,
one it was.
I'm gonna, I'll just agree with you. At this point, yeah, I mean, I've only seen it the one time, and I wanted to rewatch all 7 before I saw The Final Reckoning, which that review is, at the time of recording this podcast on June 2nd, it is out now. But
yeah,
watch that whenever you want. But yeah, I think that the first one is obviously iconic. It's good for, everyone pretty much likes it.
Yeah, except for the original TV actors who think that Phelps becoming a traitor was a real stab in the back to them. But if you're like me and you just were introduced to the franchise new, you don't even know there was a TV franchise until you research it.
Well, yeah, that's the funny thing, is that I didn't see the show, but I knew there was a show, and I knew that Phelps, the guy playing Phelps, John or Jim Voight, whatever, he was in that show. Now, that show I don't believe is canon to the films, it's just they got that same guy. But, yeah, I mean, the first one's fine. I mean, it set the groundwork for what, this spy genre franchise was going to be. Obviously, everyone knows, right, the scene where he falls down, like, millimeters before the thing on the wire.
Yeah.
It's obviously, that's iconic, but there's some good stuff in there. I mean, obviously he does that crazy run where he blows the window open with the gum or whatever.
Yeah, and then he jumps out as the water's all pouring in.
Right. I mean, there's actually some brutal stuff in that. They showed like a little montage I mentioned in my Final Reckoning review of like clips from the other movies.
Yeah.
I forgot about the scene where the guy gets like effing impaled in his face.
Yeah.
Like
in the elevator.
What was that? The elevator. Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, I think you were a bit harsh on that whole criticism of Final Reckoning, because if you haven't seen any of those movies in a while, especially 1 and 3, which have the most references, to them, then it's not really that bad to be reminded if you didn't want to watch them or didn't have time to watch them. Even the Dead Reckoning stuff isn't all that bad. It's just, like if you only watched it the one time in theaters and you never had time to get it on Blu-ray or whatever, and it just kind of refreshes your memory as to the, what the certain parts that made it, except, key. So, yeah. But anyway, the first one was, I remember when I was younger, because I'm older than you, so when I was younger, I remember that one scene, and I don't know if you remember it when you saw it the one time, but there's that scene where Hunt thinks that Phelps is coming through the door with all his bloody hand, and he's reaching out.
Yes.
Before he wakes up, and for some reason when I was younger, that scene always freaked me out when I saw it.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I've grown on it. It's grown on me now, but at the time, I was always terrified of that one scene for some reason. Just seeing this guy with a bloody hand coming towards the screen, I guess, is what freaked me out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy what can scare us as kids, right, and versus adults. I mean, it's still creepy. It's still weird as an adult, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's normal now, but yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, and but yeah, I think the gum is always especially when it's introduced. The guy is like, just don't chew it.
Yeah.
Find somebody who's addicted to chewing gum, and he's a bad guy, and just give him one for a courtesy. And then walk away. And would they be able to decide what caused the explosion, or do you think the gum incinerates when it explodes?
Ooh, I don't know.
So
I'll find out.
Well, I might one day, just to test.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a one-time thing, obviously. So, while I can, right?
Yeah, film it. It'll go viral.
But
sure, that'd be great.
But yeah, I found it to be pretty interesting, especially when it's also the first time we see Luther, and obviously if you haven't seen the first one, you'll be shocked. Well, for a while anyway, you might suddenly be shocked to see how young the guy looks compared to now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny to see him in the final reckoning and then compare it with the person. It's like, oh, are these the same person?
Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty decent, and the guy starts throwing up all because of what's that woman's name that helps Hunt? She's Phelps's wife, and she puts something in his coffee, if you remember that.
Okay, yeah.
Squirts something in his coffee, and it makes him do that, I guess. So.
Right. I gotta try that. You try the gum, I'll try the coffee that makes me puke.
Yeah. And just a heads up, my computer might crash on me randomly during this, so if I suddenly stop talking, that's probably why, because it has this tendency to do so when the engine starts roaring. But anyway,
we'll blame it on the gum.
Yeah. But yeah, overall it's a good one, and Mission Impossible 2, moving on to that one, I also don't mind that much. I think you said you're creeped out by the part where he grabs the scarf as it's blowing away or something.
I don't know if I was creeped out, but I cringed a little bit.
Oh. Well, he's a bad guy. You're supposed to cringe at them because you want them to lose. Especially with the later ones.
No, especially the later ones. But I think, so with that one, from what I remember, I think I enjoyed it. It's probably my least favorite, but I did enjoy. I don't hate any of them. I thought it was still good. But I believe John Chu directed this, who's obviously an Asian action director.
I actually watched the commentary, and it was hard to understand him during it sometimes.
Okay.
I watched the commentary, and sometimes what he was saying, just you had to really be listening, trying to figure out what he's saying and pay less attention to the movie just to understand what he was saying because of his accent. But
right. You have to turn on subtitles, and it's still, even the subtitles are like, what?
Yeah. But
no, I mean, yeah, so he's a good action director when he makes these Asian style films, but I think when he translated it to this, his filmmaking style, it just didn't hit with me as much. I like the slow-mo. Maybe there's a little too much. I don't know. I think that there's certain...
Well, I don't mind it.
certain shots that I felt like were a bit off. Just were kind of like it's a little too much. But, I mean, it's not a bad negative. I mean,
no.
I do think it's fun. I like the bad guy. I like the... What was it, the knife stunt with the eye? I thought that was...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's that. And there's also... there's the... I like the part where Naya injects herself because it goes to show contrasts what she said in the beginning, where she doesn't have a conscience, and
Right.
you know,
A little bit of character growth.
yeah. Or she was just like she said, she lied at all that time, and she actually does have a conscience. She just doesn't like to show it, because she's a bloody thief, as she puts it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But
I also noticed that. So this is a weird reference, but there's a scene in Mission Impossible 2 where I believe it's this one, where Ethan and Naya, or I think that's her name, are like driving, like really close together, and I think they're looking at each other, and like she effing like crashes or something.
yeah,
And there's a scene in. So there's a cutscene in Lego City Undercover where Chase McCain is looking at Natalia, or is it Natasha or Natalia? One of the two, and he's looking at her. And they play that scene out, but their cars like crash and they go over the bridge. And I just thought, oh, okay, that's a funny thing to happen.
yeah.
And I saw that movie and I was like, oh my God, that's where they got that from.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen that one, but
that was my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny too. You see, especially her. She's having fun. Being a goof in the car, only to not look when suddenly a car is coming right at her, and then you kind of have to laugh, like, yeah, pay attention to the road, you idiot.
Yeah, bad time to be a goof.
But yeah, and I actually don't mind the action, even or the slow mo. I mean, sometimes the slow mo actually looks pretty good, like when he's doing, especially in the final fight with the villain, you see like all those slow-mo, almost martial arts type moves, where he does the spinning kick, or he does the chest kick, or whatever. Or even when they jump at each other off the motorcycles.
Right.
You kind of...
No, I mean, it
kind of gives Incredible Hulk vibes seeing that.
Yeah.
So
I think it's interesting that Ethan Hunt is like, yeah, he's smart, but he also knows like whatever the fudge, Tai Chi, Hai Chung, whatever that is called.
Yeah.
It's great, because he doesn't do that kind of stuff in any of the other movies, Like Mission Impossible 3, which we'll get to. I mean, that's, a lot of the action in that one is more like gun fights, right? Not like crazy ninja flips. So I get it, right? The guy's Asian. He's a specific action director. He wanted to translate that to this film.
Yeah.
But I just find it really intriguing that like Ethan never does that, to my recollection, again.
Yeah, well, maybe he does try to retire by Mission Impossible 3. So maybe he kind of has let some of his skill sets go by then. Or something.
I forgot how to do this. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't mind it personally, and I think even when they do the main theme at times is kind of, intriguing. Like when he's playing the bad guy's right hand man, and then he rips the mask off, and then you hear them play the theme with the kind of electric guitar going.
Get you hype.
Yeah.
I'm like,
so
this the music. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but it's also the director is apparently the only one out of all the ones before Christopher McQuarrie that was never asked to come back. All the other ones were, and they had to decline.
I heard. Yeah.
So it's kind of, I mean, maybe he could have done another one that's maybe better than the second one if you didn't like the second one as much. But, you never know until you give the person a chance. Just like Rian Johnson, give him another chance at Star Wars despite what all the haters and basement dwellers say, and maybe he'll make something better than The Last Jedi if he got 3 movies to himself.
I mean... He's saying it's still happening after he does his Knives Out stuff.
Yeah, so, the Mission Impossible 2 director could do the same thing if he was given another chance. Maybe. But he would still have to say yes himself.
Right. I don't even know if he's doing movies anymore. He's probably older now, right?
Yeah, could be. But, yeah, so, and moving on to 3, this is kind of the one that I especially get a kick out of, like the people who play the villains when they get to temporarily play one of the heroes with a mask on. They must have fun doing that. They're supposed to be these evil guys, but they get at least a few minutes to play kind of like a happier version of themselves, I guess.
Right.
Or a good version.
Yeah, and then he's like, "I gotcha."
And so
attacked in the bathroom or something.
Yeah, and so the guy that played Owen Davian in the third one must have had a blast, because apparently all that stuff he did on his own too, like when he was walking across up or climbing in through I don't know what it was, I think it was a church or something, and all of that. He was doing that. It wasn't a stunt double apparently. So
it's not just Tom Cruise.
Yeah. So,
that's good.
But yeah, he must have had a blast doing that, and especially when he got to confront his evil self in the mirror.
Right, yeah. Classic, right? I think he's one of the best villains in the franchise. Like, you know how, like, people think, oh, Heath Ledger's, like, when you watch The Dark Knight, they're like, oh, he's the best part of that movie. I think Philip Seymour Hoffman did a great job, and I initially thought that Philip Seymour Hoffman was actually like a fat Matt Damon for like half the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I never heard of Philip Seymour Hoffman. I never heard of him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's Matt Damon and he's chunky. Oh, look at that.
Well, a lot of these actors you don't hear about until you see them in these movies. So.
Right.
Like, I know
sadly he passed away.
Yeah, he passed away just before, I think, Mockingjay Part 2 released. Or something, because apparently there was a scene with his character in that movie that they had to cut because he died before he could do it. So I think they changed it to like a letter instead.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Or something,
okay. Yeah,
but
that was him. Okay.
But yeah, but he was still a pretty decent villain. Definitely one of those people you love to hate in the movie, right?
Oh yeah,
especially when he's kills his translator without mercy, all because she was fooled by Tom Cruise or Hunt as that was portraying him. Like how was she supposed to know?
Yeah, right. Stupid. I think this movie for me up until Fallout was my favorite. Like this, like I love J.J. Abrams as a director, so like I was like, okay, this should be good, right? And like yeah, from like again, I like 1 and 2, but like as soon as I put in 3, I was like, from that introduction, intro scene.
Yeah.
This is like infinitely better than 1 and 2. Like this is like 1 and 2 are good, and then 3 through 8 are like, oh my god, this is effing great. This is really good, and it's just it blew me away. I mean, I love the stunts.
Yeah.
I love the more focus on the almost John Wick-esque gunfight scenes.
It's also tragic when you see that woman that he has to save only to die right like 3 seconds before the defibrillator's ready.
Right.
It's really.
I love that he's also. This movie also shows that Ethan's smart, right? Like he's writing all the stuff on the window before he has to get the rabbit's foot, and I love that.
Yeah.
Certain elements of this also make it into 8, which is cool.
Yeah. And it's kind of difficult at first to figure out how the mastermind is the guy that we see in the beginning instead of what's his name, Lawrence Fishburne's character. And
I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Very white.
Yeah, but and then he turns out to be the mastermind all along. But they kind of do that too in I think it was Fallout
with Alec Baldwin, right?
No, with Henry Cavill.
Oh yeah, Superman, right?
Or no, let's see. Maybe it was. I don't remember.
His mustache?
I don't remember. What something anyway.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, but no. 3's really good.
Yeah.
I love the scene. What I remember.
That's why you should have watched it.
I know.
You know.
I was in Florida. I was in Disney World. I love the scene where, what's his name, Rebecca, his wife or his girlfriend or whatever, she has to, like, I don't think she's ever killed anyone, or she's like a normal woman, and she has to, like, defend herself with a pistol. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. I think her name's Julia.
That's it, yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one just felt more, like, kinetic, right? Like, even that shot where, like, the missile blows up and he gets hurled onto the car. Obviously, they didn't blow a missile up, but, they still... Tom Cruise pretty much tries to kill himself in every movie multiple times, so they just, like, effing, whip him forward with a wire into a car window. And it just, like, them actually doing this stuff, it makes it feel real, because it is, right? Like, they're actually doing this stuff.
Yeah. Like the fulcrum that he had to do.
Right.
In China to get the rabbit's foot.
Now, what did you think about Philip Seymour Hoffman's death? Because I know some people don't like the
brutal
truck or car or whatever, but
just
don't like it?
It was just brutal.
Yeah.
But then most of the villains' deaths are brutal. I mean, well, I don't know about most. Maybe half of them are, and half of them sort of aren't. Because, like, Phelps's death in the first one, I think he just, like, the helicopter explodes in the first one, and then I think it kind of, like, it slams him into the train tracks or something, and just, like, that. If he survived that, it would have hurt a very great deal. And then the second one, he just gets shot. So this was probably the first real brutal death we see of a villain. Obviously,
I mean, it was...
Fallout has a even more brutal one, but we'll get to that one later.
Yeah. But no, this was the one for me where it really picked up steam, and I was like, I was genuinely excited to get to the fourth one.
And then...
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
It's probably my top 3 or so favorites out of these.
Yeah. And speaking of the fourth one, Ghost Protocol, more kind of, I wouldn't say brutal villain deaths, but just more brutality. Because, especially in the beginning, you just see this woman just cold-bloodedly kill this one guy, and then, of course... his partner is, out for blood for after that. And you don't feel sympathy for the woman when she gets thrown off the building. That might have been the most brutal in that movie of the villain deaths.
Is this the one where it opens with him in prison and the big prison fight, and, like, it ends in, like, the car thing? Or is that 5?
Well, he breaks out of prison with a Russian guy, and then I don't remember if it ends with the car thing. It ends, if you're talking about just the introduction, it ends with him saying, "Light the fuse," and then we get the opening title and stuff.
Okay.
But
this is the one too with Jeremy Renner in it, right, for the first time?
Yeah. We wonder why he's so good. We know where he came from. Or we wonder why Hawkeye is so good. It's because he was part of this for a time.
Yeah. In between Infinity War and Endgame, he joined the IMF.
Yeah. Just to give something, put his archery skills to rest for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna try his gun.
Yeah. But
is this where he chases after the train? Right, with Ethan?
No, I don't think he chases after a train.
Okay. That might be the other one.
I don't think any of them he's chasing after a train, except the first one.
Like a train, but it's like a stagecoach or like a train car that they have to like get into or something.
Oh, that might be the Dead Reckoning.
Okay.
But it's also good to see Benji be out in the field.
Yeah, right. He gets some character development. That's cool.
Yeah. This is the only time we also see him shoot somebody, because Despite being part of the team, he doesn't do that in the other ones, really. In fact, he doesn't even really fight in the other ones. This is the only time we see him actually, pull that trigger.
Right.
But
I guess that's his character arc, right? He shoots a bad guy.
But, it's kind of like that with, characters in all kinds of movies where they're the tech guys and they don't really fight all that much. They're just
right.
They're the tech person as opposed to just the trained person sort of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But yeah, it's I thought the building in Dubai, I even researched it. I guess it's twice as high as the Empire State Building.
What? Yeah, well, isn't that? It's one of the tallest buildings ever, right?
Yeah, it's definitely don't want to fall off that unless you're trying to be worse than Tom Cruise and you really have a death wish and you're not trying to just be death-defying.
Unless you're Florence Pugh in Thunderbolts, I guess she could do it. I don't know what building she jumped off of in that one, but yeah.
Well, I haven't seen Thunderbolts, but
not a smart choice to jump off that puppy.
Yeah, but yeah, it's certainly the sticky gloves or whatever he uses is a pretty funny scene, especially once they stop working.
Yeah. Oh God. I mean, that scene, right, like that shot where he's like, he's going out from the window and the camera pans. I mean,
yeah.
It's a good shot because, like, it's well shot.
And once again, he did it himself. Well, they had wires, but he did that exactly himself.
Right.
It wasn't CG or anything.
I watched the movie and I was like, wait, they have the sticky gloves? I'm like, where'd you get that? And then I'm like, oh, there's wires.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's also, what'd you think of the part where he and the Russian villain guy finally are getting into it in that car park that's constantly having moving platforms and everything? What'd you think of that?
Right, well,
that fight?
I thought it was crazy because I don't remember what I watched. It was like literally 2 days ago, but it was a behind the scenes thing, and I mean they built like a massive like 7-story car thing, and like that was a real set, and they had the movable things. I thought it was CGI, but it looked real because I guess it was. Yeah, I mean it's not my favorite ending. I think it's not boring, but I don't know. I feel like him just like going in a car and falling a little bit isn't the most exciting thing in the world, but it's still good.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was all right.
Yeah, I did too. Certainly, I mean, I think, the biggest critique with these movies now is that it seems to be all about the stunts first and then the story. But
right.
They want the stunts to be different every time, and so trying to figure out the stunts after the story is a little harder than, figuring out what stunts you want to do first and then work the story around it to make it work, Instead of, the story first and then suddenly the idea, let's try this stunt. And then you have to figure out where in the story to put it and how, because maybe this specific vehicle or item or whatever that's required isn't in the story at that point. So,
well, that's just it. I was even talking to Echo Killshot about this, just off the interweb, and he was like, "Oh, he hasn't really seen any of them," and he's like, "Oh, well, I'm just kind of." He was a little apprehensive that the movies were more about, like you said, they were just what stunt, and it feels like every movie they're trying to up the ante, right? Oh,
yeah.
This one he jumps off a building. Okay, well, this one he flies a friggin' biplane. Are the movies actually good, or is it just about the stunts? And I said, no, they're actually good, like quality films, good storylines and all that.
Yeah.
With good stunts, and yeah, like I feel like with especially Dead Reckoning Part 1 and the Final Reckoning, the marketing is literally like 99% of the marketing for this new movie is just the freaking biplane scene. And yeah, it's great, and I love that scene.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's not in the trailers that they could have put in there.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think the only trailer I actually saw was in Sonic, when I saw Sonic 3. Okay. That's the only time I saw a trailer. Everything else I really didn't look up or anything. But
that's probably for the best.
Yeah. But if only that could be the case with all the trailers that I see. I only see the next movie that I want to see's trailer in the, theater. And then, because if that was the case with Sonic 3, I probably wouldn't have even... Well, granted, I wasn't really researching this one. Some movies I research, other ones I still plan on seeing, but I don't look at it all that much. And this was kind of one of those, as opposed to, say, Jurassic World Rebirth, which I am thinking of seeing. And seeing the seeing the Distortus Rex in full. Yeah, that's what they're calling this big hybrid thing that they've been showing in the trailers, the Distortus Rex.
I don't know about that one.
But I guess they needed something sort of cool, and not Indominus Rex 2.0, but or Scorpius Rex, because that's taken in Camp Cretaceous.
Oh, I gotta watch that show.
Yeah, that's actually the Rex that I couldn't remember the name of at the time when you asked me if I'd seen it, and I told you there was some sort of other Rex in there that I can't remember. That's what it is. It's called the Scorpius Rex.
Okay, I mean that's kind of cool though.
Or Scorpios Rex, or however it's spelt. It's another hybrid looking thing. I've seen what it looks like, and it looks definitely something. If it was in the movies, it would probably terrify you as much as the others did.
Yeah.
If not more so, because I don't know if it's bigger than the Indoraptor, or what size it is. But anyway, back to Mission Impossible before we get carried away.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mission Impossible 9 should just be Ethan fighting dinosaurs.
Yeah, why not? I mean, or crossover with Marvel. See what Hawkeye is really doing in his time when he's not with IMF.
Right. Well, hey, I mean, apparently Tom Cruise is going to play Iron Man, or like a lot people want him to play like a variant of him, like
yeah.
The so we could see that, right? That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, Henry Cavill was temporarily Wolverine, so.
Yeah, that's true.
And he would have worked.
Cavalrine.
Yeah, he would have worked actually after seeing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and going on to what's the next one? Rogue Nation. What'd you think of the bad guy in that one?
Was that the guy who
Solomon Lane? Solomon Lane.
That guy. Yeah, because he was in this one and Fallout, right?
Yeah.
Like, a part of it. Yeah. I like him. He looks like Alan.
Oh.
In a weird way.
Now I know what you look like, Alan, so we better watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, hey, Alan's been on the channel before.
I've never seen him.
Okay, well, he's not going to watch this anyway.
Okay.
But, yeah, it looks like Alan, so it's kind of funny. But, yeah, I thought he's a good villain. I think he's maybe not as good as Hoffman's villain, but I think that he still did a really good job. He was creepy and weird.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see him, put in that box or whatever.
Yeah. And also, you gotta admit the scene with the president is pretty fun, entertaining.
Oh yeah. I love that. This is the movie where Ethan gets on the plane right at the beginning, right? And he's like holding on.
Yeah, with all those explosives or whatever.
Right.
Looks like something from Avatar 1.
Kind of, yeah.
Except there's only one, not two of them. But yeah, it certainly is. Certainly has a good they all I find have pretty decent plots. Sometimes the motives can be a bit confusing because like I don't understand what Phelps's motive really was in the first one, and I mean, what's his name? Sean Andros or whatever. His motive obviously is just money.
Right.
And then Davian and the other guy, their motive is the rabbit's foot. Although I guess they don't really need to have a motive because apparently Davian's always been a nutcase. But
yeah, he is pretty insane.
Yeah, and then the Russian guy, he wants just chaos, I guess. Wants to start a war or something, and then Solomon Lanes, I can't really figure out what his thing is. I think it's not terrorism. It's trying to start a new world order or something.
Yeah, just having fun.
Yeah, and so
Mission Impossible: Brave New World.
Yeah. But I thought it was, introduction of Ilsa is pretty, it's kind of odd at first because you kind of wonder why she's saving Hunt because they've never met before as far as we know.
Right.
And so, like, does she just have this thing for him right off the bat and decides, you know what, on second thought, maybe I'll save him.
Yeah.
Or is it just a conscience thing?
Maybe she's just a good person. I don't know.
Yeah. But, yeah, I found...
She's a good character.
Yeah.
I like her.
Yeah, certainly... certainly it's nice to see when she is helping them and not, cutting tail and running.
Yeah, right.
But same thing with Grace in the latest one. Or in Dead Reckoning, I should say, not the latest one. But, it's definitely got some good merit to the, like she's sort of stuck. She's she wants in on with, I think it's the not the KGB, the British intelligence or something. She wants in.
Yeah,
wants to be brought in. Yeah, it might have been MI6. But whatever it is, anyway, she wants in, and then, of course, the twisted chief guy with glasses is kind of holding her leash, so to speak. And unlike Vader, she's not liking it very much.
yeah, it makes sense.
But
I like the motorcycle chase too.
Yeah, certainly.
Like Ethan goes through all this crazy shit, and then he's like, "You know what? I'm gonna get on a motorbike now."
Yeah.
It just keeps going,
And seeing the dynamic between Luther and Brandt, I think his name is.
Yeah. Yep.
Seeing the dynamic between them, since Luther was just a cameo in Ghost Recon, not Ghost Recon, Ghost Protocol.
Yeah.
Ghost Recon's a video game. Yeah.
Good game.
Well, for the most part, I've only played Future Soldier, but that's only because it had a P90 in it.
Makes sense.
But yeah, it was. I thought the water scene was certainly a new thing.
Yeah.
Especially how he enters. You see this kind of funnel almost where the water is pouring in, and he has to drop right into the center.
right in the toilet bowl or whatever.
Yeah. So, but
I thought that was crazy.
Yeah, and not to get into the controversial side of this actor, because I know a lot of people either don't have forgiveness in their heart or they just like to hold grudges and, whatever. But not to get into it, but what did you think of Alec Baldwin's character?
I mean, he's not in it enough. I mean, he dies, but I think that for what he's in it, he's mysterious.
Yeah.
He's like Jeremy Renner. They're good, but they're not in these movies, and they're not in it that many movies for me to actually care a whole lot. Like, he's kind of forgettable to me.
Yeah.
But he didn't give a bad performance or nothing. It was just
no.
I wish he was in more things. Obviously, the guy's he did a stupid thing, but apparently maybe he's a weirdo in real life. I don't know. All I know is he was Santa Claus in one of my favorite movies. So that's
yeah. Well, I've seen him in a couple of things. There was, I think, Madagascar 2. He voiced one of the characters.
Yeah.
And I think he was also in Pearl Harbor. I don't remember.
Oh. I know he's in Cat in the Hat.
Oh. But, yeah, I haven't seen him in too many things either. Just, some things. But then again, I mean, you only see some of these actors in some things and not everything. Like Jim Carrey, I've only seen in a few movies, not every movie he's been in. So,
thank God, because that's a lot of movies.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought he's obviously that character in Rogue Nation that's kind of against, he's trying to shut the IMF down and all that. He's in the way, so to speak. And then he, of course, has a change of heart when the truth comes out at the end with the guy that gets shot with truth serum in the neck.
Right, yep, yeah. I remember that, yep.
Yeah, it's certainly... and then, of course, seeing him carry over into Fallout, which I guess we can start talking about now, is kind of an interesting thing where he's actually on their side the whole time now.
Right.
And then, of course, we get the CIA woman. That's the new thorn in the flesh, in the thorn in the foot that has to get in the way. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll admit, though, I mean, Fallout for me, like, 3 was my favorite, and then I'm like, 3's not going to get topped. And I really loved 4 and 5. But then I watched 6, and I was like, this one's not my favorite, maybe. Like, I really, really like Fallout. This one's up there. A
lot of people find Fallout to be the top of the pyramid for these things.
Yeah.
But, and, yeah, definitely, Henry Cavill's death is brutal. Getting that hook just lodged into his skull like that as he falls.
Yeah. I mean, I also love the bathroom fight scene. I love the Halo dive. And apparently the Halo jump Tom Cruise really did, but Henry Cavill did not. And I could tell because, you know what I mean? Like, I can tell because I'm.
Well, he would have had to get hit by lightning in real life if he actually did it, right?
I suppose.
Because that's what happens. That Henry Cavill's guy gets hit by lightning and then it gets knocked out as he's falling.
Right.
So I don't think that actually happened. So they probably threw a CG stuntman in there.
No, he got hit by lightning. And they were just like, all right, just keep rolling.
Yeah.
You're doing great, Henry.
Yeah. Remember, Thor packs a bigger lightning bolt than you do, or than that does. But
right.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Ilsa return in that one. She shoots the guy that everybody thinks is Lark in the face, and Tom Cruise says, "I need a face to make a mask," and we obviously don't see, but obviously it must have done enough damage to where his face got really messed up. If Hunt is saying that.
Yeah.
But
no, yeah, I thought this was great. I mean, Henry Cavill was really great in it. I think is this the one with Angela Bassett as the president in this one?
No, she's the CIA person.
Right. Okay.
She's not president until 8.
Okay.
Well, actually, she's sort of president in 7, but we only see a picture on a wall of her.
That's right. In the beginning. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
this is where we see. I'm looking up the cast now. Vanessa Kirby's character, Alana Mistopoulos.
Yeah.
Cool.
And her brother.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that scene where I don't know if it's like I'm assuming it's like the newer movies do this where like they're going through a plan and then you see the plan, but it's like a what if scenario type thing.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that when Alana's talking to John or Ethan. There's like this opera music, like almost balletic scene where Ethan has to like kill an innocent guy or something, or he's being like corrupt, so to speak.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And it turns out to be all BS. And I thought like that was a very powerful and emotional scene. And it just, I don't know, it stuck with me.
Yeah. Well, I kind of, it's definitely a brutal what if scene when you don't hear anything. You just hear, I think it's just music playing. And then it cuts back to Hunt, and then he's like, kill everyone. That's your plan. And I kind of laugh at that, like, well, I guess it's better than no plan. Just kill everyone.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what a lot of psychos want to do, just kill everyone. Forget about religion or whatever. It's funner just to do that.
Some men just want to watch the world burn, sir.
Yeah. I mean, Joker's motives are kind of basically that, except he likes to do it in different ways all the time is all. As opposed to just shoot everyone right there then and there and be done. But
and that's why we love Joker.
Yeah. But
I'm sorry, what are the kids calling now? The Jonkler or something?
Oh, I wouldn't know. Maybe it's the
I was called the
Jokester.
The Jokester? I think that's already a character.
No, that's Trickster from The Flash.
That's right.
No. Jokester is worse than both of them combined.
Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, I found it interesting when they're trying to get Solomon Lane to safety and Ilsa's on hot pursuit. And then Hunt has to crash her a little.
Yeah. It's an intense scene, and I love the scene too where like it's filling up with water and he has to like hold it or whatever. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Especially how they do it, because you kind of, they obviously have the camera sort of following when the thing is turning, because you see the water, it doesn't really change direction, but it's still filling up like that, and it's like you're watching it sideways, but the water is filling up sideways as opposed to it's certainly weird but interesting to see that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that was even in the trailer. I mean, that was like, it's a really good shot, right? It's
and apparently the actor wanted to die in the last one, like in Rogue Nation, because he wasn't familiar with doing action movies or something, and so he agreed if he would at least die in that one, but he obviously didn't. So I guess now the new agreement is, as long as he doesn't come back, he was willing to do it a second time or something.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't really do a whole lot of fighting, does he? I don't remember much.
Well, not until the end anyway with Ilsa. He sort of fights right. Ilsa.
Yeah, this is the one with is it the bomb, right? Where like Luther is trying to disarm it?
Yeah, the two bombs.
Right. Yep.
And
it's that, and then it's Ethan and Walker in the helicopters or whatever, which is also crazy.
Yeah. So, and it's certainly like, I don't know if it's part of just how her mouth is or whatever, but the actress that plays Julia, when she talks, it always looks like she's half smiling when she's talking. Because the one corner of her mouth is always like in a smiling sort of bend when she's talking, and the others is just neutral or whatever.
She's doing her best Two-Face impression.
But no criticism. It's just it's just odd when a serious thing is happening and she's talking and see half her mouth is smiling or whatever. Yeah. Like,
She's
So
happy, right?
is
She's
this
happy that
is this half funny for you that everybody here is gonna get vaporized?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little funny.
But
If you're gonna go out smiling.
yeah, or half smiling. But
Yeah, right.
but yeah, it was definitely interesting to see her. You know, she obviously, when you see her looking at everybody, because she knows this by now, she knows the IMF, and so it's certainly interesting seeing her looking around, and like she knows that they're not here by accident. You know, there's something serious going on here. You know, and so it's. And then she helps Luther, and then, you know, Benji's like, "You're involving her?" And Luther's like, "Mind your business. This is my business." And he's smiling at a staff person as he says it, saying, "Oh, nothing to worry about."
Yeah, it's all good. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
But, yeah, and the helicopter chase is certainly intense, and Cruz had wanted to fly a helicopter in real life, so that's what happens, obviously.
Yeah, it happened. Now, did Henry really do that?
I don't. Well, he didn't fly. He was shooting the gun.
That's right. Okay.
No, so whether he shot a gun, actually, I don't know. I mean, thank goodness he missed if all those rounds were live. But might have hit some innocent trees and mountains, but nothing. Nothing life-threatening to us. But yeah, the fight is certainly, like I said, it's definitely a brutal ending for him when the hook just lodges into his face, like his head, like that, and he goes falling off the cliff.
I reckon that'd be a good way to go, though, right? Like it'd be kind of cool. You'd be like, oh, okay, this is.
Yeah, definitely. So.
At least it's over quick.
Yeah. But yeah. So moving on to, I guess, Dead Reckoning, as it's now called, even though part one is part one's in the title still, whether you watch it or not. You know, it's always part one now.
Yeah.
I don't know why they get rid of the part 2 these days. Like, they did that with Infinity War part 2, and they did that now with, you know, Dead Reckoning part 2. I mean, Infinity War kind of understands because they are linked, but they're not exactly, you know, like, there's obviously a good gap of time that's passed.
Right.
Yeah. You know,
and I mean,
between the ending of Infinity War and the beginning of Endgame, and then of course there's a 5-year gap within the beginning of Endgame.
Right.
So,
I think honestly, for Dead Reckoning Part 1's case, I just think that the movie didn't make a whole lot of money. Like it kind of was a flop in a way. So I think they wanted to rebrand for this next one, but like, you know, you can't reboot it. You can't just ignore the key. You can't ignore the entity. You can't ignore all this stuff. So, like, what do you do? Oh, well, change the name. Which, yeah, it's a little weird. Because, like, you know, Part 1 ends with End Part 1.
Well, even in the opening, it says Dead Reckoning and then Part 1.
Right.
So, you know, why couldn't they have still called it The Final Reckoning Part 2?
Yeah.
I mean, would that really have mattered to most people? As long as if they see Part 1 and Part 2 next to each other in the shelf, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I mean, it's always going to be Part 1 on the Blu-ray case.
Yeah, but speaking of the movie, anyway, it's once again a good one for the most part. You know, I kind of. You know, like, they didn't want Grace to be sort of boasting every time she betrayed Hunt and thus make her more hateable. But it's definitely not easy to sympathize with her either when she does it. You know, like, the solution is run away. When she's almost gets killed by those 2 guys and Hunt stops them, she runs away from that, you know, and it's not until Ilsa gets killed that she's finally, you know, like, I guess guilt eventually catches up to her. Well,
it's guilt, but it's also the fact that they're like, yeah, like, you either join us or, like, you're basically dead.
Yeah.
You don't really have a choice. So she's like, oh, okay, I'll probably do the smart thing, but I think she's a good character. I mean,
Yeah.
she's up there with some of the best in this franchise. Obviously, she does go through this, like you said, this spout of running, but I mean, I like that she's portrayed as a normal, like, I mean, a pickpocket, but, she's a normal-ish woman, where she's not doing kung fu and gunfights and all that. She's just, she pickpockets, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
So it's just really interesting that...
It's obvious. She's kind of like Naya, except a lot longer before she finally comes around, so to speak.
Right.
Naya, it's just, Hunt saves her from falling off a car, and then she's instantly on his side. Whereas this, it's like, it's not until Ilsa gets killed in the middle of the movie before she's finally comes around. Grace finally comes around. And
which is interesting, because when Ilsa, quote-unquote, died in the beginning, when I rewatched it, I was literally sitting there, and I'm like, that's a shitty death. That was, like, really poorly done. Like, it's just, like, then just hooks up, and she's just dead on the floor. I'm like, oh, that was bad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember her dying there. When she does die, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now
She was faking it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was... definitely, and like I was saying about number 3, the White Widow, as she's called, the actress who played her must have had fun when she was portraying Grace in disguise.
Yeah.
And, like,
I mean, that whole train sequence is just, I mean, I love the what is it, the cab fight,
yeah,
the chase. I love the train scene. You can tell, when Ethan's hanging off at the end, and Grace has to pull him up. You can tell it's CGI, which I get it. You're not going to have Tom Cruise dangling in like 8,000 feet up, but I was a little like, it's a little ropey. But other than that, I mean, I love the train fight. I mean, actually on a train,
I do think it was a little kind of, Gabriel could have been doing a little more too, though, because like it looks sort of like he lands, kind of like maybe 3 blows on him, and that's it through the whole thing. And it's sort of like Green Goblin when in Far From No Way Home at the end, when Spider-Man's on the warpath and Goblin maybe hits him 3 times, and he's just otherwise unleashing, and it's sort of like that, where it's not really much of a fight otherwise. I mean, he's sort of fighting back. Yeah, well, he is, but he isn't when it comes to Hunt, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, he's able to kill Ilsa, but anyway.
Well, that's right, yeah, I forgot about that fight scene. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's still pretty interesting, and, I thought the guy who does it, Gabriel, did pretty good too, and the Paris was certainly a shady character in Dead Reckoning.
Yeah, I liked her. I mean, when I rewatched it, I was like, oh yeah, Mantis is in this. Wow.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's
sometimes she has Harley Quinn makeup on, but.
Yeah, the kabuki stuff, yeah. I like that.
But, yeah, certainly is, obviously you can tell Gabriel's a little in of himself, too, at times, because he accuses Paris of planning, she's going to betray him, but what do you think starts that, him betraying her, right?
Right.
So, yeah, just let it out.
That's what's interesting is, like, it's interesting because of the entity, it's almost like this, I mentioned it in my review, but it's like the Overlord from Ninjago Season 2. It's like this pulsating, like, beam of, energy, and it's just...
Yeah.
At first I was like, I don't know if I like this a lot, because, all the other movies, they had human bad guys, and there still is one in Gabriel, but...
Yeah.
It is interesting that this entity is, it's a little far-fetched, because it's like, oh, AI gone crazy or whatever, but it's still believable in a weird way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of them saying, that it's just they wanted to get some sort of AI reference in there, and this was their way of doing it because AI is the future,
Right.
And
Probably is. Let's be honest.
yeah.
If ChatGPT turns into the entity, I'm going to be a little bit mad. So let's hope not.
Yeah, but and what did you think of Kittrich's return from MI1?
Yeah, it was cool to see him back. I thought that was kind of interesting. Cause,
Yeah, still as shady as ever.
Right, I know. Yeah. Well, before I watched any of these movies, I played Lego Dimensions, which is the Toys to Life game, and Mission Impossible has, I think, a team or a fun pack, a story pack. You play through the first movie, like a level, and it's got the open world, and I'm running around the open world in it, and I'm like, this is awesome. I should watch these movies. And a lot of the quests in the Dimensions hub world it's Kittredge, the actor. He came back and did the voice.
Yeah.
So I knew his voice, but I didn't recognize him at first in this one. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool that he came back. So
yeah,
again, giving credence to the fact that these are like it's a connected franchise, right? It's not like I mentioned how Tintin, one Tintin book is different than the other one. No, this is like a connected thing.
Yeah. I mean, I know that Mission Impossible 2 is probably the least referenced of any of them because literally there's no new character that comes back from 2 in any of the other ones. There's no even mention back in Sydney when I stopped that guy from when I shot that guy or whatever,
I shot that one guy or whatever.
Yeah. But
that one guy.
Yeah. But, it's still I think there's still a few clips in Final Reckoning of it when they do that flashback thing. But yeah, and finally going on to that one before we get into sort of speculation about potential future. I don't personally mind like I said, I don't personally mind the flashback stuff that you said was a little too, trying to remind you of what happened before, because, I mean, like I said, if it was 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago now, when the last one came out, and so if people only saw it the one time, maybe forgot about it, didn't plan on getting it on Blu-ray, or couldn't get it on Blu-ray at the time because of money or whatever, and they still wanted to see what happens next.
Right.
It's just a way to remind people of what happened, or at least the key, what they really need to know about what happened going into this.
Right.
So, and then the whole rabbit's foot thing definitely is the big one.
I like the montage in the beginning, and without spoiling it too much, I like.
Well, we're at the end here, so newsflash, people, we're entering spoilers. We forgot to mention that, so stop watching or listen. Yeah, I die. Yep, I die, because that's my name in real life.
Yeah, you ate the gum.
Yeah, I ate the gum, blew up, and now it's just a voice in Franchise's head.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't like Last Jedi anymore. You don't like Last Jedi anymore. Not until you admit Last Jedi has the worst story in all of cinema, or whatever.
Yeah. Did I say Last Jedi? I'm sorry. I meant Last Samurai. My bad.
Oh no, Last Samurai is gold.
Yeah.
Or fool's gold, depending on how you what you like about it. But anyway, but yeah, I find it to be pretty, pretty good how they do the rabbit's foot, and obviously in the third one we think it's some sort of bioweapon because it has the symbol on it, but it's, I guess, what the entity came out of eventually, or came from.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
I
thought that was cool. I mean, there's a lot of references in this one, and I mentioned it in the review too.
Yeah.
We have the knife for the guy who's barfing from the first movie. It's little things which, they didn't need to do it. But that's everyone's critique. Everyone online that I don't really look at reviews, but just from what I've seen online, just popping up, people don't like that they're trying to make this nostalgic and connected, like like Star Wars or Marvel. Which I don't mind. I think it was done pretty decently. I mean, I didn't really have an issue with that aspect of it.
I didn't actually. It was nice. It was nice to see the guy from the first one because he had not only more of a role in this one, rather than just be the barfy guy that gets fired afterwards, but he actually he meets the guy that got him into this place in the first place. Finally, and.
They made him a good character.
Yeah, and he gives the knife back that he found when it fell. So, it's not...
Yeah, I like that.
And not to mention, he proves to be actually a pretty smart character, not as dumb as some guy who doesn't know that a secret agent squirts something into his drink when he's not looking. I mean...
Right. Yeah, he was cool. His wife was cool, I guess.
If people don't understand how spiking somebobody's drink works, it's when they're not looking. It's not because the other person's dumb. Okay. Oh, by the way, I put some kerosene in your Pepsi that you're drinking there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
that's why it tastes so weird. That makes sense. That's fine. I'll keep drinking it. Don't matter.
Okay. As long as it's Pepsi Electric, it's pretty good too.
It's actually Mountain Dew Voltage. So that's
I like that as well. We don't have much of that here anymore. We don't sell 12 packs anymore. We still have bottles
they're all
and
replaced with kerosene. So.
Yeah, good old blue kerosene. But
my favorite drink.
Yeah. But, yeah, I thought, too, it was interesting that one guy, Briggs, is revealed to be Phelps' son.
Oh, yeah, the guy from Joker, right.
Yeah, well, he's all... Yeah, and Kong. It's the only other thing I've seen him in, is Kong.
Yeah, he's a weird-looking dude. He just looks pissed all the time. He's really ugly.
Well, now we know why. He's got a chip on his shoulder because Hunt exposed his father as a traitor, and... It's not until the end that he finally, makes peace with it. So
and I actually love that because there's a kind of a throwaway line in part 1, the 7th one, where I think his partner, his buddy, he's like, "Oh, you know Ethan?" He's like, "Nah." And he's like, "But it is you know him personally, no, but it is personal."
Yeah.
And he doesn't respond. That line makes it doesn't go anywhere until this movie, where I'm like, "Oh, okay, I get what they're doing."
Yeah. And speaking of his buddy, what'd you think of his role in this one?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really do a whole lot in 7.
Obvious. Well, yeah, he was kind of like I don't know what a good analogy would be.
He's like the lapdog. He's like a lackey, right? He follows along.
Yeah,
but
basically.
This one, he actually, he gets stuff to do. He helps with the bomb, obviously. There's always a freaking bomb.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, he did good. I think he was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly. And I didn't expect him to be joining it. Well, actually, speaking of things that happened too soon, again, people, spoilers, so mute our video if you don't want to listen anymore. But, yeah, it was sad that Luther dies, but it's kind of sucks that he dies so soon.
Yeah.
Because he could have... Actually, something that would have been really cool is if he had helped out for the rest of the movie, and then we see that he's ill from something that people are complaining about, but obviously people have never been sick before because they don't know how illness suddenly can hit you whenever, and it doesn't have to have an explanation in the previous one. If he doesn't have it in the previous one, which is what, like a month before?
A few months, yeah.
So
it's funny because that was one of my questions when I walked out of the theater, because I'm like, because I saw it with my mom, but Dad was working, so I'm like, oh, like mom hasn't really seen any. She's seen like bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But I told her, I'm like, why is? I thought they like put that nose stuff in Luther or whatever in the bed to like transport him to the jail cell area where they blew him up. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, is he sick? Does he have cancer? What's going on? It's just random. And then I Googled it, and they're like, oh, yeah, it's an unknown illness. But I'm like, all right, they don't even mention it. Like, it seemed like a very random thing to put in just for no reason. But
yeah.
I don't
But,
hate it. It's just,
no, I don't either. But, and it's better than him just getting shot or whatever.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah.
As I was saying, it would have been interesting though if he had still been with them until the end, and then he dies of the illness at the end.
Right.
And then
he doesn't die at all.
Yeah, I mean, maybe still before the little happy ending where Grace hands Hunt the entity in its prison or whatever the thing is called.
Yeah.
Still before that, still to make. Not make that any more tragic than it doesn't need to be. It's not tragic. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And possibly the end of the franchise. We'll see. But
yeah.
Depends
on how much money it makes.
Yeah. But I think overall it was pretty interesting, and how. I was kind of expecting Gabriel to be either killed by Paris or get into another fist fight with Hunt, but this time it's a little more even than the last time where he only hits Hunt 3 times. But no, it's all happens on a yellow biplane, and he cracks his skull on the tail of the thing.
Yeah.
And that's how he dies, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I thought it's a good scene.
Yeah.
I also love the scene where he's in the water and he's gonna find the Sevastopol or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah, that was the claustrophobic scene I warned you about in the sub.
That was it. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because, especially when after he's got the entity, he's trying to get through all the falling missiles and crawl into that tiny missile compartment, and I mean, if you have a real claustrophobia, then close your eyes in during that whole thing, because.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting fully claustrophobic.
It was like that.
Yeah, I wasn't fully claustrophobic, but I definitely could have, if I was in that situation, I would have died. I wouldn't have been like Hunt and been able to endure it. I would have died the second I removed the entity, just because of all the space. But yeah, but definitely I
thought a shark was gonna get him, actually.
Well, I don't know if sharks exist in cold waters like that, but I mean, we don't even see anything in the water there. I mean, don't even see any beluga whales. I think they can.
No.
I think they live in the cold waters. Beluga whales.
I think I saw one in the swimming pool once.
But yeah, it's definitely, if it is the end of the franchise, it definitely has that feeling to it. But it also, it's not like Indiana Jones. Just grabbing the hat doesn't mean anything. Just means he's not dead, and that he's still gonna be Indiana Jones until the fictional character eventually dies that we won't know about. But
right.
But in this case, though, we see this new team of characters, with Briggs' partner guy, I forget his name, and Paris and Grace, and Benji is, I don't know if he was just a temporary team leader or if he's going to be the new team leader or whatever, but they've got the door is very much open there for another one. And
oh, for sure, yeah. I mean,
and Cruz actually wants to, said at the time of Dead Reckoning anyway, said that he wants to continue doing Mission Impossible films at least well into his 80s, like Harrison Ford did with Indiana Jones or something. He kind of wants to follow in his footsteps, sort of thing, with Mission Impossible. So I mean, there's kind of speculation all over now because when the movie came out, he said it's called Final for a reason, indicating that it could be the last one. But then there's that thing when Dead Reckoning came out that he said wants to do it until he's in his 80s. And then
he probably saw that part 1 didn't make a whole lot of money, and I mean, Indiana Jones is a bit different in the fact that, Indiana Jones drives a car and he shoots and he punches and he throws a whip, but none of the Indiana Jones movies have the stunts comparable to Mission Impossible, and I can't see Tom Cruise doing that shit when he's 80. You know what I mean? Like, was he gonna fall from with his walker? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
why not?
I don't know. I could. I mean, I'd probably see it.
The technology could advance well into those years that the walker turns into a handheld helicopter, and he just flies around like Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
With but also there was a recent reveal this past week that the director wanted there to be a post-credit scene initially, but decided against it to save it for a potential future film. And so that's kind of also leading to the possibility that there will be at least a 9th. So
I don't know. I mean, I want more.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind more, but when you call it Final Reckoning, when you're in the interviews being like, yeah, it's the final one, stupid. Don't lie to us, or just stop calling it final.
Well, it's the same like X-Men Last Stand.
Yeah. And,
I don't know, Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Some of those... Would you at least agree that a lot of the titles in the Skywalker saga should have been rearranged now?
Yeah, I saw that video.
Last Jedi literally should have been Episode 6, because he is literally at that point the last Jedi after Yoda fades, and then Rise of Skywalker for Episode 1.
I guess.
I don't know what Episode 2 would really be, because Attack of the Clones still sort of works, but it...
Title,
yeah.
In general. Because the clones don't really attack. It should be, creation. Defend. I don't know.
Well, yeah. But anyway. Yeah, so... But yeah, I think, a 9th one is possible. There's potential for a 9th one. I wouldn't be against it, as long as they don't shove some themes that this whole month is going to be about, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the Marines or whatever, June. It's the what is it? Helping people out month or whatever.
Yeah. It's a month
Veterans Month.
Well, not just that. It's
just that. It's Veterans Month.
Well, if only that was the case. But because they're already talking about it on the news, and it's just I see it just how these people talking, and their morality is gone. Like, they have no morality. It's all stuff I'm not gonna say on the record, but
yeah, you'll get canceled.
Well, I've only got 23 subscribers, so it's not like I'll be losing that much. I still got all of our podcasts on the record on my computer, so I can still watch them. And I can watch yours when I'm not signed in, so by all means, if you want to cancel me, it's really your loss.
Mission Possible.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they're all 8 are pretty decent, and I will get, of course, Final Reckoning when it comes out, and it's assumed September right now, but
okay,
might be later because we all know how Indiana Jones happened.
Yeah, God.
And But it could even be sooner. It could even be like August, maybe. But sometime in the fall-ish area.
Yeah.
Summer to fall area.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good movie. It's not my favorite, like, trilogy or franchise.
Well, why does it have to be good?
No.
Why does it have to be your favorite?
It is a good conclusion, though.
Yeah.
For what they were trying to do, I thought it ended on a decent note. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Some things I learned. Apparently, the Grace actress. There was a fight scene. It must have been in the beginning because she doesn't fight throughout the rest of the thing that I remember. But apparently, she was 9 months pregnant during a fight scene.
Yeah, she was preggers, and so was Vanessa Kirby.
Well, I don't know if Kirby was, but
yeah. Well,
but anyway,
I know she recently said she's pregnant. So
yeah, but anyway, it was.
Thank God she didn't get kicked in the stomach.
Yeah, well, maybe the kid would have had endurance enough to survive just to make the movie.
He caught the foot.
Yeah.
He catches it and he twists the ankle of the bad guy.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not my favorite either. But why does something have to be a favorite to be good? I mean,
no.
My favorite thing sort of varies depending on what universe I'm obsessed with. Like when I'm watching Star Wars, or at least the Star Wars I know, then I kind of become obsessed with that, and that becomes my temporary favorite. And then I go on to Marvel, which I haven't watched a whole lot, but I did decide to watch the Avengers 3, 4, and that yesterday, and then Guardians 3 today. Because I've been playing a Switch game called Ultimate Alliance 3. It's just for Switch, and I've got a number of Marvel characters on there unlocked, plus some others that I still haven't unlocked, but I'll get them eventually. But
yeah, eventually.
But yeah, my favorite is really just depends on what I'm watching at the time. Really, like it's not. There's no real favorites, and even if there was, it wouldn't matter if it was or wasn't, as long as it's good. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
So, like Monsterverse may not be your favorite like Star Wars, but it doesn't have to be, does it? As long as it's good?
No. Yeah, as long as it's good, which they're all good. So, I mean, that's good.
And none of them have to be your favorite or past Skull Island for them to be good, does it?
No.
It's like, no, except maybe this one. But
to do this, yeah, we get into it, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so, and that's basically our Mission Impossible thing, I guess. Unless you have something.
Turns out this mission was possible.
Yeah, after 2 months of waiting.
Yeah.
Because.
Well, hey, if you guys enjoyed this and you enjoyed, hopefully if you haven't seen the Final Reckoning, I mean, I hope you didn't listen to this last part.
Unless you're like.
Care about spoilers,
yeah, if you're like me and don't care about spoilers on most things, then I guess whatever. But.
Yeah.
It's only a movie that I plan on seeing that I care about spoilers, but other things, like, you could spoil me all you want about all the Marvel films I haven't seen, like Cap 4 and, when you see Secret Invasion and all that stuff,
I need to watch Secret Invasion. That's the next one on my rewatch list. I haven't even finished that one, but...
Oh, yeah. But, I don't care about those things, especially Disney Plus stuff I don't care about, The only Disney Plus things I have are a few Phase 4 things, I believe, from Etsy, and then I found Obi-Wan in a store officially, so...
Okay. Hey, that's a good show. I like that show.
Yeah, so... But yeah, if you guys are like me and don't care about spoilers, and I guess whatever, but if you do, and I don't know, we're too busy watching the gameplay to not listen to us until it was too late, then I guess that's on you.
Yeah. Sorry, loser.
Yeah. You were warned.
But,
you didn't listen.
Yeah. You were. You definitely. Yeah. So before this video self-destructs in 5 seconds, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Again, I had a good time talking about this. We kind of did a massive. This was the big Mission Impossible one. So let us know in the comments what your favorite MI film is from 1 to 8. If your favorite is 2, I'm blocking you.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
And if your favorite is none, then I'm reporting you to the CIA.
Yeah.
That is.
We know some.
That is Canadian Impossible Agency.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
we know some people, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys for listening or watching or whatever, however you wanted to consume this. If you did, if you made it all the way to the end, comment, I don't know, the word Cruise Tom. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and if you have any topics you'd like us to talk about, regardless of what it is, Teletubbies, Sailor Moon, Cat in the Hat, whatever, just let us know.
Yeah.
Just nothing too controversial.
Yeah.
Because I don't want...
No Arthur.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about news things. You can find that on your own. So, but anyway, so any closing remarks here before I stop recording?
Yeah, just quit it.
Okay.
Stop the presses. But seriously though, thank you for listening. You guys know the drill by now. We should have another one coming out in a little while here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got a lot of stuff to look forward to on my channel, and obviously Recon when he gets another unboxing or anything.
Yeah. That won't be for a while, but still, yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, hope you enjoy, and later, folks.
Peace!